Hi everybody, Seth Wilkinson with the SealRyt Corporation, manufacturers of high-performance braided packing and the PackRyt bearing, here today for the Pump Seal channel to go over some of the most common questions that we receive at SealRyt regarding our products and our suggestions on how to approach our products and packing in general. So I have a nice list here today. I'm going to very briefly go over these, just hit the high points. If you need further explanation on any of these, please feel free to reach out to us via email, phone call, text, however means you wish, and we'll be happy to get into any of these subjects a little bit more deeply with you. But hopefully some of this will answer some of your questions. And again, reach out. We're always willing to talk. Okay, so first and foremost, what does SealRyt do? Okay, well, SealRyt started out as a packing manufacturer, and then in the early 2000s, SealRyt developed the PackRyt bearing. Why they developed the PackRyt bearing is because they wanted to not have packing or any sealing device be the first point of failure of any type of pump or anything that requires a seal or packing. How we did that is through shaft stabilization with the PackRyt bearing and its many different configurations. Those configurations are, everybody knows, the BLR, is the bearing with the lantern ring. And you'll see half of this is white. Obviously, you'll get it in a whole color, but some customers require white because they don't want any contamination or potential contamination of black material into their process. We also have the BRG, which obviously is just the bearing portion with no lantern ring. We have the ORM, which is our O-ring mount that is used for mechanical seals. We have our diverter, which, as you can see, what it does is it diverts the incoming flush water to a different position on the shaft. We also have our SLR right here. Okay. That is our specific lantern ring. This is our Extract Pro, which is just an option of the PackRyt bearing. We also have segmented bearings, which are used primarily in pressure diffusers. And we've been known to manufacture a gland follower or two. The reason why we got into gland followers is because we've had customers that had mechanical seals on their pumps, threw the gland followers away, wanted to convert back over to our PackRyt bearing or standard packing and needed a gland follower. So we do have those capabilities. We don't do pump parts, okay, just so you're aware. We do gland followers. All right, next, what is a PackRyt? Well, a PackRyt right here. That is a PackRyt. Again, in its many different variations, what it is a close tolerance bearing. Okay, not a bushing, a bearing that goes into the pump first, takes up the space of the packing rings ahead of the lantern ring close towards process. And what its purpose is to stabilize the shaft, provide a bearing surface. Does it act as a bushing too? Yes, it does act as a bushing, but that was a result of our development. Okay, so that in essence is a PackRyt bearing. This is also a PackRyt bearing. This is a PackRyt bearing. This is a PackRyt bearing. All right. What is a DuraPack? Okay, DuraPack is when we're combining our SLR with our BRG. Okay, so it'll go in this way. This will go in first. Then we'll line up our specially designed lantern ring up against that BRG. So you may be asking, well, why not just get the PackRyt bearing with the integrated lantern ring? Well, some customers like the option to pull the lantern ring out because they may have had issues with clogging in the past due to the condition of their flush water. They may get interruptions in their flush water process, may come back. So they wanted the option to be able to pull that lantern ring out, clean it out without actually having to remove the entire bearing. All right. Along with that, the design of this lantern ring allows you to maximize or optimize the flush water getting to the shaft surface. Okay, you notice it is a lot less restrictive than your standard lantern ring configuration, which this more or less mimics most standard lantern rings, whether it's made out of Teflon or any other type of metal, be it bronze or steel. So again, you can see there's a major difference. Okay, so this is going to get that water to that shaft or that sleeve as fast as possible and minimize clogging. Okay, what's the difference between a PackRyt and a competitor's equivalent? Okay, well, we often get confused with a certain other manufacturer out there. I'm not here to tout them or their products, and we do know that there are other we call similar products out there. The difference A would be the material that it's made out of, which is proprietary. Okay, that's first and foremost. And we do have different types of materials based on what the customer tells us about the piece of equipment, the process. So we do have several different types of material that we can make it out of. However, our standard material is proprietary. So what is actually in it and what it's composed of is very different from anyone else. All right, which allows us to claim and back up that it is an actual bearing. On top of that, our manufacturing processes are different than others, and we pay particular attention to tolerances far and above other manufacturers of what they may claim to be a similar product. Okay, I'll put dimes to dollars that you put us up against one of our competitors' equivalents, and we are going to outperform them in the same application every time due to our manufacturing process, what the material is made out of, and quite frankly, just the amount of attention that we pay to what we are installing. This is all we do, okay? We don't have 7 other tricks in our bag. No, we are going to go at it with what our product is. We're going to pay attention. We're going to do our due diligence, and we're going to research, and we are not going to back down off of making this thing succeed, okay? So it's not like if it doesn't work, well, then we got something else we're going to have to push you towards. That's not what we do, okay? All right, do I really need to measure for proper fit, or will a drawing work? Okay, this one's very common because we understand, too, that you can't always get to that piece of equipment to get the actual measurements. So the real question is, will we manufacture off of a drawing? That depends. Is it the manufacturer's drawing? Has it been rebuilt to those specifications? Can you guarantee that these are the actual dimensions on that product? Because of our close tolerances, we always really, really want you to actually measure the piece of equipment and get us the absolute 100% surety of those dimensions. What we do, though, is based on a drawing, is we will give you what's called a budgetary quote off of the drawing. Okay, that doesn't mean we'll manufacture off of that quote, but it'll get you in the ballpark of what it's going to cost. Then when that equipment is down, all right, then you go ahead, place your order for the PackRyt bearing, and we will ship within 24 hours so that hopefully that piece of equipment isn't down for any extended period because of us, because you're waiting on a product from us. We have manufactured off of drawings in the past, but it's a very special case. Again, you'd have to contact us and give us a little bit more information as to why you want us to manufacture off of a drawing. Again, long story short, we prefer actual measurements of the equipment. Okay, do they come split? Yes, every single one of them comes split. This is a quick one. The only time they don't come split is if the customer requests that they be solid. Okay, do I need an anti-rotation pin? No. Due to thermal expansion of this particular material, it'll expand out, it'll lock into the bore of whatever piece of equipment that you're in, and it will not cause any type of rotation. There have been instances where we have had rotation in the stuffing box, okay? It's not like it hasn't happened, of course it has. But that's usually due to an interruption that would cause any particular sealing device to fail. There's something going on in that piece of equipment that is abnormal, that has caught a hold of that bearing and spun it. But it's also what we found, it has not been an issue that a PackRyt is going to solve. Okay, so, but in general, no, absolutely not. Do not need an anti-rotation pin. All right, next, how do I get it out? For your common PackRyt, all right, if you look at the back of it, we have drilled and tapped threads that will fit a packing puller. So you can put one or two, typically 2 or 4. You want to try to keep it as even as possible. And then you just grab that packing puller and work the PackRyt out. For our larger cross sections, we have what's called the Extract Pro right here, where we ship with the Extract Pro, we ship these bolts, which are based on your drawing and your piece of equipment, are measured so that you can access them from the outside of the stuffing box. And all you do is turn that bolt and it will walk that PackRyt back. Again, these are found throughout the outside diameter of these PackRyts, and it will make life easier. There are instances, and I have done it myself, where you've actually had to chip them out. That's not a fun thing to do, but it is a method. Okay, these are really designed to be in that pump until it's ready to come out for normal service when the end of the lifespan of that piece of equipment is done, and you have to replace other parts anyways. So that's ultimately what we're trying to get to, and that's what it's designed for. When you don't utilize the extractors, or if you don't have an Extract Pro and you absolutely have to get it out, again, chipping it out is pretty much I wouldn't say the only way. If you can take the wet end off, the impeller off, and smack it from the back, that's another way that it'll work. Heating it up, I suggest you don't do that. Leave it alone. Don't try to heat it up. You're gonna cause more problems than you are solving them. All right. Why do we need clean water, and what do we do if we don't have clean water? Well, like any piece of sealing equipment, I think every manufacturer is pretty much in agreement that we want to have as clean water as possible. Okay, we don't want any particulates getting in between our shaft or our shaft sleeve, and any type of our sealing device. All right, it has a potential to clog. It can be abrasive, and again, I don't care what you're using as a sealing device, it's going to be abrasive. If you don't have clean water, it's just something you have to let us know. If you have a parts per million, value on it, great. Let us know. Let us know what your contamination history has been in the past. Has it been silt, dirt, fungus, seaweed, whatever it is? Let us know what it is, and let us know that you don't have clean water, because there are things that we can do in the manufacturing process to make up for that. But if we don't know about those things, then obviously there's nothing we can do about it. But if we know that the water isn't exactly the cleanest out there, then again, we can do certain things to our PackRyt bearing that will allow for that and reduce the amount of clogging and abrasion that you're going to be seeing. Okay, why no flush outlet? Okay, that one's a biggie. That one's a biggie. In the past, and for a long time, having a discharge from the flush water coming in and then having it go out was the common practice. Okay, we want to cap that discharge. We only want water going in. Well, why? Why? Because you want to balance, or do your best to balance, the amount of water going around the circumference of the PackRyt bearing to allow for cooling. At the same time, we're actually we're using that flush water as a part of the seal. So when you have pressure coming in, we want to exert that pressure towards process and keep any of the process out of the bearing, out of the stuffing box. If we just run it straight to discharge, well, all that pressure is just going to go around that lantern ring and can get fired off right out onto the floor. It's not really doing much of anything other than cooling and keeping that lantern ring clean, which the lantern ring isn't utilized for sealing other than a method for you to get your flush water in there. It's not doing your packing, your mechanical seal, your PackRyt bearing. You're not doing it any favors by discharging water onto the ground. Okay, if anything, you want it to go into process. All right, how tight do we tighten the gland follower? And I'll couple that with the other one, the next one, which is, should we see dripping out of the gland follower? Okay, it's really dependent upon what you have for the process, what the pump actually is, what the packing is that's behind it. Is that packing conducive to less water? Does it need a little bit more water? And so when tightening the gland follower, What I typically suggest for people to do: install your PackRyt bearing, install your packing behind it, pilot that gland follower 1/8 of an inch into the pump. From there, start your pump, and then start to slowly tighten it. Slowly tighten it, a couple flats at a time. All right. As far as leak rate goes, really that's up to the mill and the millwrights. Okay, we are okay, depending on the process and depending on the packing, with seeing no leakage whatsoever. We also understand, though, we're pragmatic. We've been doing this for a long time. We understand that that isn't the general practice, and some people are more comfortable with water coming out of out into atmosphere past the packing. We get that. So it's really up to you guys and what you want to see. All right. If you are going to have water come past, great. Just understand you are now reducing the amount of pressure for that flush water going into process. Okay. You're allowing some of that pressure to come back into atmosphere. Again, totally your call. We may suggest a packing that we also sometimes are comfortable with having a little bit of leakage, but standard 1 to 2 drips a minute. That's typically what you want to see. All right. Why do you use 2 different styles of packing sometimes, but not others? Okay, again, that comes based off of our assessment of the equipment, given what the customer or our distributor or our direct sales guy person will tell us. Okay. The process itself, the condition of the pump, all have something to do, and the depth of that stuffing box have something to do with why we would suggest maybe 2 different styles of packing, sometimes even 3 different styles of packing when you're dealing with a stuffing box. So you have to understand, inside that stuffing box, you go from process to atmosphere. As you move along from process to atmosphere, the conditions inside that stuffing box change as you move through. Okay, so what we want to understand is what is happening at each point in each position to that packing, to the PackRyt bearing. So really, when we ask you questions and maybe we're dealing with a very harsh chemical, maybe we're dealing with a pump that you're not able to replace the shaft sleeve, but it is worn. You have something that is high in abrasives. There's a lot of different elements to us suggesting a packing, and those are just a few of them. So we're looking at mechanical, thermal, and chemical, and based on those parameters, we may want to put a packing that's a little bit more resilient, chemically, thermally, mechanically, up front, and then have something that is not quite as stable mechanically, but is better chemically, it is better thermally. Okay, and it's really case by case basis. But that's a very brief explanation of why sometimes you'll see several different types of packing in our particular sets. Will you cut packing for us? Yes. We will cut packing for you. Obviously, bulk, that goes without saying. We cut it. Every single ring that comes out of here is die formed and hand cut and skive cut. If you want butt cut, you have to ask for that. Specifically, you want a butt cut ring. But they all come skive cut, and every single one of them is die formed to size. If you don't wish to have any die forming to size, fine, let us know. We won't die form it, but we'll just hand cut it. But to answer the question, yes, we will cut packing for you. In fact, that is our standard. I think that hit just about every question that we fielded over the years. Hopefully the explanations were standard and good enough and answered some questions. Again, if you have any other questions, you need more explanation or maybe a more of a discussion on any one of these subjects, please feel free to get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to have that conversation with you. Thank you for your time.